All right, coming back to you with another video. This one is going to be about the best, we'll put that in quotation marks, supplement for weight loss. And is it going to be what you think? Probably not. So what I am going to do is go ahead and share my screen with what I think is the best supplement for fat loss. If you're reading my screen right now, you're going to see it's creatine monohydrate. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you don't think of creatine monohydrate whenever you think of weight loss. You think of building muscle, water retention, big bulky dudes, bodybuilders, not for women. That's usually what you think. However, the creatine will help build muscle, which will help you with your metabolism and therefore help you with your weight loss as you continue with your diet and exercise. I'm bringing this up because on the most recent episode for Mind Pump podcast, that's Mind Pump, their episode 1748, that's how they started it off. And one of the guys, Sal, he sometimes has controversial subjects that he brings up, but this one makes total sense, and I 100% agree with them. Now, it does build muscle by helping you create more energy to do these fast, explosive movements. That energy is going to be called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So when you do your squat, bench, deadlift, you're sprinting, these like 1 to 3 second movements, you're going to be using a good amount of ATP. So these heavy lifts, right? So we need to be able to have enough of that ATP to continue to have the same intensity with all these sets and reps. So we want to make sure that we have a nice saturation of creatine in our muscles. So that's why we will see some weight gain at the very beginning because of the water retention. Creatine will pull water into the muscle cells if you're doing everything correctly with your diet and exercise, and you won't spill over and hold water in your subcutaneous skin and fat layers, right? So it's going to make the muscles fuller. It's going to pull water into your muscles because the water and the creatine, all those things, and the sodium, it all needs to be used to create energy, to create better blood flow and better nutrition uptake. So a dehydrated muscle is not good. So a muscle without water, it lacks performance and it's going to be susceptible to injury. Okay, so we want to be fully hydrated. Creatine will take on usually like 3 grams of water. So you'll see a slight increase in body weight at the very beginning, but it can go back down for sure. So usually people, they aim for about 5 grams to 10 grams per day. No, not really a need for loading phases anymore. Your saturation will probably hit on 5 or 10 grams a day around like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then again, this depends on how much lean muscle mass that you have on your body. The more lean muscle mass, probably the more creatine you should take, and you're not going to absorb it 100%. So if you take 10 grams, don't worry about it. You're probably not going to absorb 100%. Now, the discretion is if you have a renal kidney disease, which you would know because the doctor would have told you, I would probably avoid the extra creatine under doctor's supervision if he allows it. So, so the fat loss, so you really want to know about fat loss. So when you build muscle, it requires more energy, metabolic energy. So it requires more calories to maintain that muscle and to continue moving throughout your day and to do all the workload that you need and to think and such, right? So it's an expensive tissue. So we need to be able to feed your body, right? So the last thing that your body will break down if you have adequate amount of protein will be the muscle and amino acids. It's pretty hard to break those things down, right? So it'll go more toward fat loss. So it's going to be helping you with overall fat loss and not with weight loss, because weight loss means muscle, tissue, bone, all that, right? So fat loss, we're just focusing on fat. So like I've talked about in my other videos, that's what we're talking about. That's what we want. We don't want weight loss. So the other points that they brought up was about like, the cost of creatine. Now, this is where I think they probably should have went back and looked at the supply right now and consumer reports. So creatine is now more expensive per I think it's like the 10 kilograms that they buy for the manufacturers. So there are some manufacturing delays because of getting the raw material, also getting from different areas around the world, right? So the German brand, the CreaPure, or from China. So the creatine cost has gone up significantly. So where a 2-pound jug used to be like $25, it's now up to like $50, $60, okay? Depending on what brand that you get. And I would say the more superior form of creatine that you would look for, if you're looking to restore saturation and to increase saturation of creatine, it's going to be creatine monohydrate. The reason why I say that is because it's going to be the most studied for supportive evidence that we see across all journals for physiology and kinesiology. And examine.com, for those of you listening, again, this is who we go back to because it will give you the studies, the most recent ones that are pertaining to lean muscle tissue building, performance, cognitive function as well, and seeing reduced risk of Alzheimer's. So it's more than just a performance and fat loss aid and muscle building aid. It's going to be a cognitive aid as well. The downside is that there are a very small percentage of people, we're talking like maybe 5% of the people in the population, that will have an actual side effect of creatine, like the diarrhea or bloating to creatine monohydrate, that's where creatine, micronized creatine monohydrate might be better for you. It's just going to be kind of like, so like creatine monohydrate, I always say it's like the texture of dirt, whereas micronized creatine monohydrate is going to be like sand. But then we'd also have some buffered forms of creatine that can help with, again, reducing the risk of you having that upset stomach, diarrhea, bloating, if you are that like very few percent people. And the way that you figure that out is actually, cleaning up your diet and eating and avoiding foods that you're intolerant to that cause bloating, and take the creatine. Don't be eating pizza and then take creatine and blame the creatine for your bloating. That's the pizza, all right? So now that that's out of the way, you can read more about creatine and its other glorious adventures and what it does for you on examine.com. But you want to know where to buy some. So I always go to priceplow.com. Priceplow, you type in this little search bar up here, type in whatever you want, and it'll bring up brands for creatine. I just put creatine monohydrate, and this is what it's bringing me up. It also tells you the price that you have here. It shows you, oh, you can use a coupon code at the MyProtein. You use PLOW40, you get 35% off. So you got raw. So raw is going to be, you get 15% off a code PricePlow, $17 for 120 grams. So it gives you all these different options, the links to go buy it, coupons, tells you if there's BOGO deals. There goes my favorite brand, one of my favorite brands, Morphogen. You got some other companies out there like Glaxon that are using DuraCaps and more sustained release creatine. We have creatine nitrates, the creatine nitrates out there that they're coming out with, like Inspired. They're going to have more of like a pump effect to you. So it's great pre-training, something like creatine HCl. So you're going to see a lot of different creatines out there. But creatine monohydrate would be my suggestion to help with fat loss, muscle building, performance, and cognitive function. And it's going to be the most cost effective for you. So again, the best fat loss supplement out there you can use with enough clinical data behind it and research also from a variety of different sources and not just biased sources, creatine monohydrate. So if you want to check out the video for the PricePlow, or not the PricePlow, for the Mind Pump, again, it's the latest video, episode 1748. And they talk about that at the very, very beginning. Leaving it there. The other thing is that I know creatine's like on TikTok right now is saying like, oh, you get like a TikTok or take a creatine and get a big butt or something, or take creatine and yada, yada, yada. I mean, listen, don't listen to TikTok influencers that are like 16 years old or 20 years old that have just started doing whatever in the gym. They're actually losing opportunities to build their own brand within the market their own selves, because they're just helping another company sell creatine and they're not getting paid back for any for the ROI on their TikTok videos. That's what they should be, right? So again, don't fall for those semantics with TikTok and reels and such that try to tell you that creatine is going to build you a bigger butt. That's just going to be because it helps with muscle building whenever you diet and exercise, right? Leaving it there. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Catch you guys at the next video. All right.